Hi guys, Billy back, and this time we're going to be looking and comparing the Legend Creations Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Stan Lee with the Hot Toys version. Now I've got some extra spare parts that I bought, parted out from a guy on Facebook, Craig Gant. He sent me loads of the spacesuit Stan Lee stuff. I also have the figure itself, but for some of the comparisons it will be easier to show you the individual pieces next to the actual Legend Creations version, and we can compare the level of quality between the two. Okay guys, first thing we're going to do is compare helmets. No, we're going to compare the space helmets, alright? This isn't what you think it is. Okay, comparing the domes, we can see that the one on the left looks bigger. I'm not sure if it's 100% fact, but it does look like it is a larger dome, and this one is much clearer and very transparent, whereas this one has some scratches in and is a little bit more frosty. And then coming down we can see the head sculpts. The official one is nice and big, whereas the one on the right has been recast and it is significantly smaller, way smaller than it really should be for like a basic recast. So I don't know what they've done. Maybe they've recast it 3 times or something, but yeah, it just doesn't fit very well. And the sunglasses we will compare in a minute. But looking down at the suits, we can see that the reflective strips on this guy are actually nice and cleanly stitched. They're slightly more rough here and a little bit more wonky, but they're a little bit less real reflective as well, and they look more silver. We can see the chest piece on this guy is in actual fact the correct size, whereas this bit has been recast and is a little bit smaller. Also, this part is supposed to go around and stick onto the backpack, but it can't. It does have a magnet in it, but there doesn't seem to be any metal for it to adhere to that backpack. The jacket of the suit, we can see this is actually a little bit smaller than this. It's got the ruffles are a lot more closer together. The fabric is a hell of a lot more wrinkled than on this one, and the seam is way cleaner here, but this isn't too far off. But however, you can see whereas this billows out a little bit more, this one is almost straight down. We can also see that the strap on this guy goes all the way around the back comfortably, whereas this one is a bit too long and the glue has come away, so that will need re-gluing on there so that it can fit properly. And it's the same on the other side, that strap is very loose. Okay, coming down to the trousers, we can see that the seam lines around here are a lot straighter and they drape down a little bit more. It is a little bit more wonky on the KO, and we can see these knee pads are nice and straight, whereas this one is a little bit ski whiff on the right leg. Again, the quilting going all the way down here is nice and straight and clean, whereas on here it's a lot more closer together and it makes the fabric far more ruffled. Looking down at the feet, we can actually compare these to a pair of boots that are actually off. These boots are a little bit smaller than these, they're a little bit skinnier and they're not as long. They both have the foot treads on the bottom, however this one they've smartly not put the Hot Toys logo on there anymore. And if we put them together like that, size wise, you can see that the KOs are just fractionally smaller. And then we can see that the yellow on the KO is a little bit of a deeper, darker yellow, whereas on the official it's a little bit brighter. Okay, comparing the hands, this one on the right is the Legend Creations, this one on the left is a Hot Toy. And you can see that the detail in the strap and the buckle is far better on the Hot Toy because these hands are recast from this, so it's lost some of the detail. All the creases in the glove are a lot more detailed, whereas it's a lot more softer here. It's like a HD version versus an SD version. And then turn it around. It's not too bad, but again, the creases on the inside of the hand are better on the left than the right. And there is a much neater paint job around the silver bits. The silver bleeds off into the yellow on the KO a little bit more, whereas they're very straight and very clean on the official. Okay, looking at the sunglasses, we can see on the left is the official and on the right is the KO, and the official are a lot thicker and slightly bigger, whereas the KO has obviously been recast and it's a little bit smaller. The arms are a little bit skinnier and a little bit thinner and flimsier. The detail on the sides is a little bit more like HD on the glasses on the bottom, whereas the ones on the top, the KOs, are a little bit like standard definition. And the lenses in the official are nice and shiny and you can see right through, whereas the lenses on the KO are very, very frosty. And the details up the top are a little bit lacking. The paint app on the official is really nice, whereas the paint app on the KO is a little dull. But I suspect some people, because the actual KO is thinner, they may actually prefer these because they might actually be a little bit more suited to 1/6 scale rather than these, which are a little bit thick. Okay, next up we can compare backpacks. The one on the left is the Hot Toy, the one on the right is the Legend Creations, and you can see that when you actually put them next to each other, the Legend Creations one is slightly bigger, but also at the same time it looks a little bit dull with the yellow, and it's got a hell of a lot more creasing in it. The stitching on here is a little bit more finer, whereas it's a little bit bigger on the KO, and there is a lot more creasing, and the weathering isn't as good. You can also see there's a massive gap here, whereas on the official it's a lot smaller. Up the top it's like how I wrap my Christmas presents and how my wife wraps my Christmas presents. Yeah, she gets me to do it usually because I could actually do it a little bit better. On the side, again, the stitching is a lot more fine. It's a little bit more sloppy on this. Everything is about 10 to 15% sloppier on the KO. Okay, and I've taken both domes off to show you the head sculpts, and you can see this is a blatant recast of this. The neck is super long, and also it is a heck of a lot smaller than the official version. I mean, they must have recast the life out of it. You can see on the suit here he actually has like a really nice sort of black collar to hide most of the neck, whereas this doesn't have that. It just has some fabric and it looks a little loose inside. Also, I've put the sunglasses on, and you can see these just, I guarantee you these will fall off if I even so much as flick it. They're just going to fall off because they've barely gotten balanced on there. They're too big for their head, and I've just managed to squeeze them on. So if you are going to put them on, the chances are you may have to glue them on, and also I would recommend modifying the neck to shorten it a little bit. This is over a £200 figure. This is 50 to 60 pounds worth of figure, and I have to say this is not a bad figure. Not only that, but it probably could be really great for customs. Say if you have the Wu Tai's Stan Lee, you might use that head sculpt in the spacesuit to have another posing option for him. You may even use another head sculpt from another character. I mean, it's a spaceman. You could put anyone in there and, you know, it would look awesome. I even think maybe if you put the Hellboy head sculpt in there, you need another neck, but take that KO Hellboy head sculpt that's just over here on the left and put it on there. Hellboy in space. Get a vampire, Dracula in space. You know, there's a million different options, and the suit will be really good for that, and it will also save people from having to damage quality Hot Toys in order to get their modifications for spacemen. Get one of these and mod them. I'd really like to see what people do with these figures. Make little spacemen. You could even make ladies from space. You could put Ripley in a spacesuit. Try that one, that might look cool. Robocop in space, Jack Sparrow in space. Come on, I could do this all day really. I could just name every single figure in my collection. C-3PO in space. Oh, no, he actually is in space. That wouldn't work. Yeah, again, let's do a quick rundown of what's actually different. Other than the stitching quality is a lot better on the official suit, obviously. The head sculpt is a recast of this, and it is tiny. It doesn't look right. The super long neck needs modifying. The dome is frostier on the KO. This chest piece is a lot smaller than this chest piece. This knee pad is twisted. You may have to start futzing with it to get that to try and come around. The boots are fractionally smaller, but not too bad. But there is a lot more nicer weathering in the official than on this side. And the hands here and the yellow, in fact, are all a slightly darker yellow than here. Like I said, the whole thing about this is the HD version, this is the SD version, and it's as simple as that. How about Rambo in space? You didn't think of that, did you? It's the only place he hasn't been and kicked ass. Okay, I hope the video was informative. It should be able to help you identify a little bit more between the KOs and the official versions. So hopefully you'll be able to spot the flaws and not get duped. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Do me a favour now, if you can get the fuck out of my cave. I've got to think up a really cool sort of spaceman-y thing to do with it. Oh, this is going to be fun.